Okay, art 1-2. If you have a horizontal image, you're going to first label the grid 1 through 10 on the long side, A through H on the short side. If you have vertical, then A through H on the top, 1 through 10 on the side, and we put little dash lines because you're going to have to crop a little bit. So you're going to take one piece of tape and attach it on any of the sides, and you want to be able to flip your grid up and down. All right, now we're ready for the grid. All right, we just attached a 1/2 inch grid to your image, but you're going to enlarge it to a 1 inch grid onto your final draft paper. This is like almost exactly like the painting, except now it's slightly bigger. All right, so for this plastic ruler, there's a little line next to the inch, or next to where it says inch. That little line on this ruler is 0. So you want to make sure that that little line on the side, not the edge of the ruler, the edge of the ruler is not 0. That first little line is 0. So that's different for every ruler. Sometimes the edge of the ruler is 0. If they have a little gap and then a line before everything else starts, then that means that line is 0. All right, so for this one, your bell work talks about where's the inch marking. So the inch marking is the big line to the right of the number. Big line to the right. It's not above the number. It's the big line to the right of the number. So because we're dealing with faces, this is a little more important than it was back in December when we did the paintings. Then when you get to double digits, it's still the big line to the right of the number. So people often like to use the little line above. Don't, because then it will throw off your grid, and then your face will be slightly distorted, like a little bit messed up. Okay, so we are going to turn your paper vertically in front of you, so it's taller than it is wide. It doesn't matter which way your drawing goes right now. Put your paper vertically in front of you. Remember, fingerprints happen now, so you're trying to just touch the edges, because that will be a border that we cut off. All right, then you're going to line up that first little line with the edge of the paper, so a little bit of the ruler should be hanging off, and you're going to put a measurement marking for each inch 1 through 9. And then don't flip your ruler or move your paper. Just slide the ruler down. And you're going to do that somewhere near the bottom as well. So remember, the first little line is 0. First little line lines up with the edge of your paper. And we're using the big line to the right of the number. So once you do your top measurement markings, just slide the ruler down, reline up the first little line with the edge of your paper, and do your measurement markings again. So we have 2 measurement markings, so we can line up the ruler for a straight line. All right, then we're going to turn the paper horizontally, and we're going to do the same thing. Remember, you're only trying to touch the edges of your paper. And we're going to do 1 through 11. So I'm going to line up that first little line with the edge of my paper, using the big line to the right of each number. And then again, you're just going to slide the ruler down and do that at the bottom of the page or paper. If you're unsure of your measurements, have me check it first. If you're confident with your measuring, then you're ready to draw your lines. So we want to make sure your lines are super light as humanly possible, because we don't want to see the grid through your face, and a lot of your skin tones are a little bit lighter in some places, and so we definitely don't want to see the grid. We are kind of cheating with the grid, but we want super accurate proportion, and this is how we're going to get it. But we don't want people to know that we drew with a grid. It like ruins the illusion that you're the most amazing drawer ever. So you want to hold your pencil at the very end like a wand. You're wanding the lines on there, magical lines that are going to disappear because you're going to erase them. All right, so you want to make sure that you're, let me zoom out a little bit. You're lining up your first measurement, you can kind of see it, and the bottom one. And then I'm double checking. Double checking. Lined up, okay. I'm gonna wand my lines on there. So again, if you're unsure, you can have someone next to you check. Maybe someone next to you feels more confident. Or you're gonna wait for me to come around in just a minute to double check your measuring. So remember, you want your grid lines as light as humanly possible because that affects your craftsmanship grade. We don't want to see your grid. We've been working the whole year on drawing lightly. And as you're doing this, remember, you're only trying to touch the edges of your paper. Fingerprints happen now, and we don't want weird splotches on your face. And you do want the grid to go across the whole entire paper, so edge to edge. All right, so you should have a 1-inch grid over your whole entire paper. And if one of the, this will become your border. We'll have a border all the way around. So if one of the sides is a little bit shorter, that's okay. In the next video, we'll label your grid.